You know, my mom was 17 when she had me, and it was tough for her being a single parent. It was a very sketchy area where I lived. It kind of forces you to grow up really fast. When I was about 7 years old, I can remember I had to remind her sometimes to pay the rent. I learned quickly how to fill out a check, sign the check, and then say, okay, Mom, is this okay that I bring this down to Miss Jean at the office? And upstairs from us lived this little boy. He had a learning disability, and I think he had a lot of challenges. So I would say, okay, Joey, you're gonna sit on these steps and I'm gonna teach you a lesson today. We're not gonna climb in the dumpsters, and we're gonna learn our ABCs. And so I would teach Joey. I spent the next several years with him as my project. And during that same time, my mom asked me, you know, what do you want to do when you grow up? And I said, oh, I want to be a counselor or a coach, somebody who helps all these people that we live around. And she said, well, you can't do that. You have to go into sales. That's the only way a woman makes money. And I said, but I don't want to go into sales. And she said, but you have to, otherwise you'll live like us. When I was in sales, I was training salespeople, and I was number 2 in the country, hoping to be number 1. And I was running myself ragged. In the car, I would have to pull over. I would be really, really sick. I would get migraines. I had sore throats, and I ignored it. Suddenly, that was it. I was sent to bed. I became bedridden for 2.5 years. And in that 2.5 years, it was devastating to have my son Josh walk in the bedroom and after school and say, you're still in bed? What is wrong with you? And I made a pact with God. I said, when I get better, I will go do what I'm supposed to do, even if I'm in poverty. I heard about this tobacco cessation job, and the executive director asked me, how are you going to be able to relate to the underserved population, considering I was dressed nice and I guess I looked clean, probably had a shower. And I said, well, you know, I grew up around this population, and so it wasn't going to be a problem. And I have a huge empathy towards people who smoke, because I remember us spending our last dollars on tobacco and cigarettes when we probably should have been buying food. You know, somehow every time I drank, it took away the pain of the things that had happened to me. And so it worked for a long time until it didn't work anymore. Putting the plug in the jug, so they say, was the best solution for me. Because I used to think, I wonder what's wrong with me? Is there something wrong with me? I just don't feel normal. I just don't feel as happy as other people.
Seeing what she can overcome and what she's doing today has been really inspirational and has really helped me along my path. I was going to the university virtually for free on scholarship and grants, and I threw that all away. You know, I started doing harder drugs and really caring less and less about my life and everyone in my family. And to the point, I really didn't care at all about my life. I didn't see myself going anywhere, so I honestly just thought, you know, I would die and that would be okay. I really didn't see a future for myself at all. Someone introduced me to Karen. She gave me a ride home. And I was really inspired just by her personality and how she carried herself. She was very happy and bouncy, really. I don't know how to say it.
Really just saw some potential in her. I saw this little glimmer in her eyes that said, I really want help because I think I can do something different.
I won a Gold Student Addy at the Jacksonville Addy Awards. The ad series was about ending the stigma about addiction, and Shatterproof, their name, really tells a story about, you know, not being broken down by addiction. Yeah, I'd really love to make a difference in someone else's life the way Karen has done in mine, and to really be an inspiration to someone looking for guidance.